This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Kreese, Mino, and Mark, bringing you all your Defo news and talk. Welcome to Season 3, the Chaos Era. Now let's start the show.
Welcome all to the Crystal Chronicles Shelter in Place edition. We all hope you are all safe and well and following the rules prescribed by your various professionals and medical professionals and area and local leaders who are hopefully giving you good advice. And if not, hopefully you're following better advice of better leaders in surrounding areas by staying put and by not being out and about and spreading this particular situation that we have going on right now. But that is not why you're listening tonight. You are listening to episode 95 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded live this March 26th, 2020. We welcome you. Thank you, all of you who are joining us live on Twitch. We do stream every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time or Central Standard Time. So please join us there. But of course, you can check us out on YouTube, on Twitch Video On Demand, or on any of the podcast apps. We do send this out as a podcast, so you can listen to it as you're walking around your house once a day, just for some fresh air. But I am Mark, and I am joined by my co-hosts, both of whom are also at home working. And they are, first, Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you doing?
Hey, Mark, still tired for some reason. I thought I'd be less tired once I started working from home, but I guess working from home means actually still doing work. So I've had a tiring day still.
I have a question, Mino.
Go for it.
How do you flip burgers from home?
I take the drive-through orders. You can do that online, right? Like, I can speak into a headset like I am right now. It'll come out from the drive-through, and then I can process the order and everything from home, luckily.
So you're not actually flipping burgers anymore. You're just taking orders.
Yeah.
Well, In-N-Out burgers have been prepackaged for about 10 years, so no one's actually cooking anything. They're just slightly warmed, all prepackaged. Yeah. Well, that other voice was our other co-host, our good friend and yours. His name is Kreese, aka Zerink. Kreese, how are you?
Wishing I could be at work when I work, because it is a headache to try to do this remote stuff.
I am learning all kinds of new skills, and I'm having to talk on the telephone, which I hate. But we are making it work, doing videos and emails and, telephone calls and, yes, Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff. I know you guys with education are even doing it more, and we'll see next week if my schools try to do that with our kids. That will be very interesting. So, Zoom. Yes, lots of Zoom. But, yeah. All right. Well, welcome all of you again. Let us go into the show. So if you don't know, we do like to upkeep you on all the Final Fantasy news of the day. And Final Fantasy did release a new mobile game. Squex did, in partnership with Gummy. But Squex did release a new game called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions. And this was a Brave Exvius... it's been in Japan for a little bit, but a Brave Exvius kind of in the same vein or in the same kind of realm of Brave Exvius, but a tactics style version, which really in truth is almost identical to a game called the Alchemist Code. I mean, it feels, it plays the exact same as the Alchemist Code. So if you love the Alchemist Code and also like Final Fantasy Tactics, then this is your groove. If not, probably it's an easy skip. I spent a good day re-rolling, and then that was enough for me to play. So I don't have to do it anymore. But yes, so we do have some channels and people playing that on our Discord, so you can jump on and talk to them and see what it does. It looks very beautiful. Alchemist Code is a very beautiful game. It is tactics style, so it is that kind of strategic gameplay. But yeah, there is, it's a little bit, the gotcha is not super friendly. And that's probably a little bit to do with Gummy. But this is run by Squex, so maybe it will be a little bit different. I don't know who's really controlling the reins, but I know Brave Exvius is a Squex game. So yeah, but yeah, this is not the War of the Visions podcast. This is the Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, the best of the Dissidia. Or, well, it's the best of the Dissidia mobile games or Dissidia games currently. But it is also the best Final Fantasy mobile game, in my humble opinion. So let's talk about the news of our game. We are currently under a Spring Festival campaign. There are some things that we got in this. We'll talk a little bit about it more in detail, but just some highlights. There's a new animated sticker, the Cactuar High. So check that out if you are willing to use your precious Dissidia points on stickers, because I sure as heck am not. I've been buying high shards like it's going out of style. But we also have 3.
What do you need those high shards for? Are you 77 everyone?
I need
Yeah, I
all
don't
of the
understand
high
that.
shards. What?
I don't
I
understand it
have
at all.
1,500 or more high shards of each color because I'm not 77ing
That's-
everyone right now.
That's not enough.
I don't get it.
Really?
I don't understand. Ink was saying the same thing.
Really?
But
I have over 2,000 of almost every high shard, and I have most of the characters at 77.
yeah, it's like, what's the point? I really don't see the point. Get some stickers.
Or actually, raise some characters to crystal strength 70 so you need more crystals.
Yeah. I don't. Anyway, you can't tell me how to use my Dissidia points, the man. But we did get 3 costume package. Woohoo! So there is a rerun and 2 new costumes. Whoopee! Cloud Advent Children costume. We've had that several times. Tifa gets her Advent Children costume. And, oh man, Squex, if I hadn't just watched Advent Children with the kids, I probably wouldn't have picked that one up, but I did. And then Aerith gets her Flower Girl costume, and all of the fanboys died instantaneously. So that is the bundles. If you pick them up, great. I know Mino got Aerith, and I got Tifa's, and I'm sure many others did as well. But they're all pretty good-looking costumes, so I wouldn't fault anybody for buying one or all. But spend responsibly, especially in this time of global crisis. And the live stream, because of our pandemic, is canceled. The slides will be revealed in-game on Monday at event time. Yeah, unfortunately, we will not be able to be serenaded by Joshua and Glacy or Joshua and Rachel. But they are hopefully still working and still employed. I hope so. I haven't heard anything that would say otherwise. And we will get the stream slides and be able to go over them next week. And maybe we'll put together a little video that goes over that as well. Last week, we actually were able to go over all of the characters, and we had experience with all the characters. So we will not... we will not do a retrospective this week, but next week we will, if we have the chance to actually use the 2 characters we're talking about this week. So that brings us to the Spring Festival. The Spring Festival did bring us the March of the Machines co-op, a level 70 and level 100 co-op, and a new co-op shop. That I have a whole bunch of crap in it, but oh no, I guess I don't. I just have tickets and Dissidia points. But that brought a whole bunch of stuff that you can buy, and of course, you get Idojas for Tifa, Cloud, and Aerith. So if you are working on that Aerith Perfect Arts, those Perfect Cursed Arts, this is a nice time to pick up those extra Idojas as well. We also got...
As
go ahead.
Detrox is mentioning in chat, by the way,
Yes.
this co-op does not have any upgrade orbs available for redemption. And I found that out after I capped my resources and tried to clear out the shop.
Oh, interesting. So there's no... oh, wow. Yeah. So there's no power or guard orbs for upgrading. Interesting. So you can get shards and clusters and crystals. But yeah, no, that's very interesting. I wonder what the idea behind that is. But yeah, so yeah, you're probably not going to be playing this one. And there's no co-op quests with this as well, I believe, right? There's been no events that coincide with, you need to do so many co-op tokens either. So we're not getting those rewards which we would get with normal co-op. So
you mean a beatback challenge?
No, like we normally get with the co-ops, like the Ciaran had, every day you have to get so many tokens and you get event.
You mean high shards?
Yeah, event, you just missions. You get mission rewards, by doing so many co-ops a day, by getting so many tokens a day.
Yeah, this one did not have any daily missions associated with it.
Yep, no daily missions, right.
I mean, I'm glad because the window between the last co-op
and this tonight
co-op
is very...
tonight's co-op was fairly short.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a mercy that this one wasn't a long grind. I finished it really, really fast.
Yeah, because
it doesn't have the pseudo dailies as well.
We'll have 3 active co-ops, right, simultaneously, which is very rare. I don't remember the last time we've had 3 active co-ops. We're going to have tonight's raid, we're going to have the March of the Machines, and we're having the Ciaran event. Manage your co-ops and manage your shops and make sure you don't miss out on anything there. So, and if you need people, because I'm assuming some of these co-ops are not going to be very well attended once the raid hits. So if you need somebody to help you with that, feel free to jump on Discord and use our co-op rooms and help. When Ciaran ends in 6 days, so I have a few days for that. And then there will be another co-op. There is also a banner, and we did get a free pull. The banner is Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, as the costumes would imply. All 3 of them have all 3 of their weapons. So this was a triple EX banner. Not an ideal triple EX banner for someone who has all 3 of these EXs, but if you didn't have any of them, not a bad banner. Cloud and Tifa certainly still have their use in Chaos Era, and Aerith is going to come with her rework and realization soon and will be a little bit more useful. So if you didn't want to pull on the banner that she is coming on down the road, which would be Ultimate Diablos, and that would be with Waka and Deuce. So Waka EX and Aerith EX. So if you didn't want to pull on that banner for Waka, this might be a good one, especially if you don't have Tifa and Cloud. Tifa's still really powerful. Cloud is still fairly useful. So all 3 of those characters, pretty good, and actually not a bad beginner banner. I don't know what you guys think, but this is obviously there have been better beginner banners, but this current banner, Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, probably better than the Cloud, Lightning, and Squall banner, which all people who start the game get. So if you are a new player, welcome. Thank you for listening. But this is not a terrible banner. You get a decent healer, you get great DPS, you get some utility in Cloud. So the 3 of them will take you some decent mileage, especially with some other characters coming out. In terms of the podcast polls, did we actually have a podcast poll for this?
We do. Most people were planning to skip it altogether.
Oh, yeah.
A couple were going to ticket it. It says 10 people plan to ticket the banner, and 1 person was going to put gems on it. No one planned to pity it. Again, the Tifa and Cloud EX Plus are now a little old.
Yes.
Aerith is going to return when she gets her EX Plus, so there's no reason to pull it now unless you need to use her for the Abyss.
Harriet, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate the sub, and thank you, Magnol, earlier for the subscription. Thank you, Rev HP, for your subscription 4 days ago. That's me. I forget to subscribe to our channel every once in a while. Yeah, Ragnamune is saying, I mean, once Lightning gets her EX plus, she's going to be good, but she's also coming back on a really, really good banner. That's also an excellent beginner banner. Really, it's a good banner for anybody. Hope Lightning and Shadow is going to be coming up pretty soon. So, oh, Hate 13, the fool who put some gems on it because I only had Cloud. So, yeah, well, that's okay. Again, yeah, Aerith or Tifa. Well, Aerith's going to be great. Aerith's still usable, but Tifa's great. I mean, Tifa's very, very powerful. Great single target DPS with launch mechanics. I've used Tifa since her rework. So we also get 3 times daily missions. So all your daily missions get doubled. So many more Dissidia points to get all those high shards. And we also have double daily stage rewards. So our daily quests and our cycle quests, you get double rewards on those. So I got some extra guild this weekend. You know, if you want more crystals, if you're running out of crystals, this is a good time to do that. We also got a spring Chocobo panel. Thank goodness. Always great to have Chocobo panels, which includes, as you can imagine, using Tifa, Cloud, and Aerith, only 10 times each. Defeating machinery types, which in the current Abyss and co-op shouldn't be an issue. 25 co-op quests. I haven't done that yet. 10 Behemoth quests, again with Abyss, that shouldn't be an issue. 10 Golden Cactuar clears, and so you just have to run Golden Cactuar event 10 times. You can use the cycle key. You don't have to wait till Sunday. And then Cerberus types, which we are going to be fighting Cerberus types tonight, right? In the raid. So we should deal 10 Cerberus kills pretty consistently. Nobody should have to worry about that. But yes, there is a fight with a Cerberus in Chapter 2, Act 2, Ragnamune is saying, with the Emperor, but you will be able to do the raid and get those 10 kills in 10 raids. So anything else about Spring Festival before we jump into the Abyss? Oh, game data has been updated. It's a little later than usual, huh?
The updated or the double stage rewards is always nice. We've had it more often than we have not had it, it feels like recently. Yeah. But I'm not going to complain.
No, and I always try to use that time to reload gems or reload shards and crystals and reload money to make sure that if I am running these things, I'm running them during the double cycle quest. So
it feels really underwhelming for a seasonal event because usually we get a much heftier co-op, at least, right? Something that you can run for a long time.
I mean, the Abyss is part of the Spring Festival, so you have to consider that too.
I guess, but even then, because we're going to talk about Abyss later, like the rewards altogether seem a little on the low side. I mean, I'm glad for the extra Chocobo board. That's another book. But
I think the festival's going to run longer than the single co-op, which means there might be another co-op after this.
Yeah, there will be additional things in the Spring Festival. Thank you, Eons.
I hope so.
Thank you, Eons.
Because right now,
let me thank Eons here. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. We love you too, and check out Eons' stuff on YouTube, and she's on our Twitch and our Discord as well, with content from JP and from Global. So yeah, Strafe says I ran 2 books and the shop was complete after 1 book, wasted the time. So yeah, it doesn't take with a book, it doesn't take very long. I've been using double books instead of triple books for shops just because I have tons of double books to burn through, so I don't mind doing I got to do the 25 co-ops anyway. So all right, well, let's talk about the big thing before we talk about the thing that's launching here in 35 minutes, and that is the Spring Festival Abyss event. This is not permanent content. This is event Abyss, and it is called Abyss: A New Episode. And this brings us 2 Abyss-style events. If you're not familiar with Abyss, we had Abyss Beta for quite some time. It is a dungeon-type event where you kind of, instead of going up a tier with Dimensions End, you kind of go into the dungeon and you have to clear out the dungeon. They have reformatted Abyss now, where you actually have, I forget what they call them, cards or something, where each effects Each stage is they call them codes, codes in this particular event. Each stage and each level has a code. Yes, thank you. And those codes basically tell you if you get debuffs, if the boss gets buffs, or what's kept up and what's left out. In the past, Abyss was kind of focused on, you need to bring this crystal color or this weapon type. This current event, not all the floors, but the main floors, only allow Final Fantasy VII characters. That's the main code. So you only get Final Fantasy VII characters to use on most of these Abyss floors. I don't believe all of them. Some of the subfloors you can use other characters, but for the big thing, and of course for the Chaos and Cosmo fights on the hard, there's two difficulties, normal and hard. Normal should be doable for pretty much anybody, especially if you pull on this banner. Not going to be tough. A hard, probably much more difficult unless you have several Final Fantasy VII characters decked out, at least EX and maybe realized EXs going on with you. So yes, the most hard content, the 2 Cosmos fights, or maybe 3 Cosmos fights total, and the Chaos fight really did lock out anybody but Final Fantasy VII cast. That's the basis of that. Do we just kind of want to go what your impressions? I assume we've all beaten this. I've beaten this content, but what are your initial impressions? We were all looking forward to Abyss. I think we could all say that. We were all looking forward to Abyss. We all liked Abyss. It had its problems, but we all thought it's interesting content. It's different content. So this is kind of maybe a glimpse of what Abyss is going to be like moving forward. So what are your impressions a day or two later? Mino, you want to start? What are you thinking about this version of Abyss?
This is the rest of the show, right? There's just so much to say here.
Yeah, but we'll take some time to talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the show. Kreese, did you finish it?
I have finished it.
What did you think? I don't know if you have all the FF7 characters. I know Mark and I do for sure.
I have 4 purpled FF7 characters: Tifa, Cloud, Barrett, and Zack. So I was able to steamroll everything using Barrett, Tifa, Zack to basically provide support, tank, DPS. And that team was sufficient for everything. I had a couple issues on 1 or 2 stages where I suffered some unavoidable AoE HP damage. And when I got to the Chaos, I basically just summoned on the wave. I knew I'd be unable to avoid damage to stop that from happening. Not that it matters. There's no mission requirements for these stages, which I guess is a nice bonus, I guess is a good way to put it, for having such a restrictive roster for this. The fights are pretty standard, though. These are all bosses we've fought at least once before, some in Chaos variants, some in Cosmos variants. So there weren't any real surprises as far as I felt.
Let me go over some of the good stuff that I think we can all agree on. First of all, very excited for codes, because as this is a sort of like beta test Abyss again, I like that codes enables the technology for boosted rooms to be boosted characters only. To slap a boosted code on co-ops from now on, and then people can't join it with RNA anymore, right? So that's really exciting technology. I'm looking forward to that, Square Enix. But also, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt of this event for a lot of things. One is pretty sure, of course, it's a giant Final Fantasy VII Remake advertisement. Sure. The second is that it's just bonus content. More content is always good. More challenges, more fights to do, and more rewards. But there's a lot of stuff I just did not like. And I think, from my impressions of casually glancing online throughout the community, most people preferred the old format to this one for many reasons. But let's go through these one at a time. I think the biggest complaint is the FF7 restriction, right? Because it's what, 9 characters out of the 120 have right now. And then that's just not fun, I think. I mean, of course, the real Abyss is going to be a permanent event, but this is a
Yeah.
very, very temporary one that's throwing like FF7. It feels very exploitative. I mean, how did you feel about that, Mark?
I, I mean, it's Final Fantasy VII. Everybody knows that's one of the flagships of the series. I mean, it's the big moneymaker. It's the one that's coming out in the remake. We have 10 Final Fantasy VII characters. All 10 of those characters have EX weapons. Very likely, some of them, everybody who's been playing for any time has some of them. Almost everybody has Cloud. I mean, Cloud EX was one of the first EXs. It's been on 100 times. It's on the starter banner. I don't think it's super restrictive. And I'm looking at the call to arms, and there's plenty of people that did it without any purples, or just did it with Zach, and how many people have Zach. So, Zach and two idiots can go ahead and do this. So, I kind of...
Actually, no one in the Call to Arms has completed this with no characters at 3-3. They have at least one character.
Oh, okay. I saw I thought the first one didn't have. So at least one purple, yeah. So I kind of go back. I kind of go back and forth in terms of, is this kind of end game? Is this rewarding those of us who have been playing since day one, who have all these characters? I mean, I have, from those 10 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 of the 10 EXs, right? So, I mean, is it rewarding those of us who have been playing the game, have a diverse roster, whether it's types and damage and crystal colors and things or anything else? But yeah, as Black Cloud Strife is saying, what's the difference between restricting by series versus a boss restricting to synergy and meta? Right. I mean, it's 10 characters that all have their EX, have all been out a long time, are fairly viable. Again, if you have Zach, you can clear it. But yeah, I mean, Macnell is saying 84% of the runs in the Call to Arms do use Zach, but Zach is not available. So I think that's problematic.
Zach is actually available from EX tokens right now if you have not used your
true.
EX tokens.
If you didn't use your EX tokens, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I got a lot of counters here left across. First of all, for Black Cloud, who's saying, what's the difference between FF7 only and meta synergy only? Well, at first we were comparing this to the challenge quests that we're going to get later. Challenge quests are chaos level. They give you a burst token if you complete it with all synergy. So it is very restrictive, similar to this, but I think it's a very different thing, as it's one fight every event. That's very, very optional, because one token is very I guess skippable, and I don't know, a few gems, a few tickets, but this is like a full floor of Abyss that really bars you out, and it's at a time where the ingots and nuggets are a little more precious.
No,
so
but
I would say that
to counter that, it's one fight. You can beat Cosmos without 3 realizations or without Zach. So we're talking about the chaos fight, really, right? So, I mean, if you have 35s and 15s and EX is even unrealized or just realized, the Cosmos fight's not going to be an issue for you. Like, the Cosmos fights are not that hard. They're fairly easy. But the Chaos one is the one we're talking about. So that's not an entire floor. I mean, we're not talking about 6, different nodes of Chaos difficulty. We're talking about one node. And therefore 5 nuggets of each type that you're missing out on if you can't beat that Chaos.
And that's fair. And then to address the second point, though, about if we're comparing it to chaos events coming out that have a strict pool. Well, first of all, I think Call to Arms has shown us that nothing has been so strict that it's been 9 characters only. And the second thing is Call to Arms usually shows right when the event releases, and then by the time the event leaves, there's another 2 or 3 banners, which is another 6+ characters who are viable for the event as well. You get time with it, and it keeps going. Whereas, let's assume that this becomes the norm. If Abyss floors become like, oh, this floor is locked to this game, and this one's locked to this game, well, you're not always going to have back-to-back like FF6 banners
Right.
throughout the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that's why it feels far more restrictive than events. At least with events, you can kind of mix and match depending on your roster, and you have a lot of banners. You have a month's worth of banners to kind of get you through it. Unless you have a month of FF7 banners, I don't. And then that brings me to the second complaint, though, is that this can't be a viable method because very few FFs have as wide of a roster. Like I think Ink was saying, FF6 doesn't even have a healer. You know, what are you going to do if it's FF6 lock? Or
Gau's a healer.
oh yeah, whoops, we forgot about that.
Yep.
Wait, but then you're locked to Gao or no heals or something like that. But then you have the other FFs who can't even fill a full team. Does that mean that they won't get their own Abyss floors? Does that mean that they're going to be less valuable pulls? Because maybe we always talk about pulling with Abyss in mind, right? Like I love the old style, which is like, oh, have yellow crystals, have fists or whatever. So we're like, I need an update of fist user going forward, or it's been a while since I had a gun user. This is going to be like, well, I need a character from each Final Fantasy, and then if they can't do the same thing with, say, World of Final Fantasy characters or FF1 characters, kind of like, they're not as valuable a pull because there is a portion of the content that locks them out or something. I feel like it's just a really shitty design. If anything, they should say like the old Abyss style, right, where it's like bring one FF7 character, and I think that would be much better than bring an entire team of FF7 characters.
I agree with Mino. I think it would have gone over better if it was just use an FF7 character instead of bring a whole party of FF7 characters.
Right. Yeah.
And then while we're talking about the cards, though, Mark, I wonder how you felt about this. Another reason a lot of people preferred the old beta, like I did as well, is that the fights were so varied that I was switching teams a lot and kind of thinking, how do I put a team together? What's the most efficient team I can put together to clear this out? And I actually had fun with that. I know some people complained that switching teams too much was a pain in the butt.
Well, you were switching. Yeah, you were switching a lot. That was the annoying part.
The annoyance was switching between trash waves before you actually got to boss waves.
Right.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't mind that, but this is far worse with the codes, at least this time. I hope they design it better. But with the codes, it's just like, oh, well, max HP down, enemy speed up, or something, like really generic stuff. And I know a lot of people said I picked one team and ran through the entire thing. Like, I didn't switch teams once. It doesn't even matter what they resisted.
Oh, no,
because the fights were so weak. Right, like, did you do the same thing?
I switched once in the ranged resist hard version. I swapped out Barret for Vanille, ran through that, and then put Barret back in.
I forgot Zach. Right. I forgot Zach was a Final Fantasy VII character. And ran Tifa, Cloud, and Aerith the entire time. So
right, and here's the other thing I wanted to address, because I know you said this in the Discord, but basically a lot of the complaints was, well, this is content geared to veterans or endgame hardcore content, so people shouldn't be upset at not being able to clear it. But I'm saying, did they ever really confirm that Abyss is hardcore endgame content? It seemed like mid-core endgame content, because they always said it was there for more content for people who aren't doing like chaos runs and stuff.
Well,
right?
I don't know that they ever said that, because it existed before. It existed before Dimensions End. Mm-hmm. So I thought in the conversations they had on stream that the idea was that Abyss was a little bit more of endgame content, not as opposed to just ongoing events. But either way, it is additional content, which is something. But yeah, right. I do agree that this is definitely restrictive. And if they went forward, there's only so many games that have a diverse enough roster that you could even do this. So perhaps Final Fantasy VII is just one of the few that they could do this in, and it just happens to realign with the remake. So it was just kind of this one-off thing, and they're going to do something different. But, I certainly think having the code for one, you have to use one character from this Final Fantasy, But yeah, I mean, that could be, depending on the Final Fantasy, that could be restrictive. If,
We'll see. And again, it's Deedrox mentioned this in chat. Abyss Beta, they said, was designed for veterans with large rosters. This feels like they took that idea and ran with it in the wrong direction, because this isn't benefiting large rosters. This is benefiting people with FF7 rosters in particular.
right.
And you might have a large roster but not have any FF7 characters realized.
Yeah, like I feel like you had a lot more freedom in the old one. I brought up the difficulty thing just because there are a lot of people arguing, and I thought you were one of the people, Mark, arguing on Discord saying, well, this is supposed to be hardcore endgame content. New players shouldn't be expecting to beat it. But I'm saying, honestly, this is not hard content. If you pull on the banner...
no. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
If you have
So I'm
Zac,
saying
if you have Zac, or even if you don't have Zac and pulled on this banner, I'm sure there's a non-Zac clear here. If I look up, maybe everybody, Cloud, Tifa, Aerith. There you go.
There's one non-Zac clear.
Cloud, Tifa, Aerith.
Oh wait, two. There's one with Sephiroth, Tifa, Aerith, and one with Cloud, Tifa, Aerith.
Yep. So yeah. So
right,
either
the exact banner. So I'm saying it feels shitty because it's kind of like it's not even rewarding good play or well-built characters.
Barrett Yuffie. Yep.
Yeah,
I missed that one. So there are some, but the majority of players are using Zac.
Well, and it's the easiest thing to do, obviously, because Zac just makes it ridiculously easy. So, yeah.
Right, and so it feels like it's the game saying, as long as you have these characters, you can get the rewards.
Yeah.
But if you don't, fuck off. I don't know. It feels like I wish it was just a harder version of the beta we already had. I already liked everything about that. I feel like saying bring one of this, and one of this was good enough to have people think. Here, I like the codes, but they implemented it so poorly. I think, like, oh, well, Shiva's not allowed in this fight.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well,
yeah,
okay. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? Or hey,
Shiva.
you're going to have, 10% max HP down this fight. It's like, how does that change my roster choice? Like, it doesn't make me think at all.
No,
I
agree. I agree with you 100% on that.
So
yeah, there was
shitty. It's so shitty.
There was none of the codes mattered besides Final Fantasy VII, because I took and especially if you had Zac, and I mean initially I didn't even use Zac, but if you had a decent set of characters and a couple purples, it didn't matter what any of the codes were as long as you used your Final Fantasy VII characters.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear if anybody, because I think we all have several purple Final Fantasy VII characters, but I'd be interested to hear if anybody here on Twitch live with us doesn't have, maybe you're newer to the game, or maybe you've been playing, but you don't have, if you've been playing a year and have no Final Fantasy VII characters realized, Eamon, who was away from the game, so only as Cloud. So I mean, there's an example, somebody who played for a while and who was gone for a while, and now, you cannot do it just with Cloud. So, unless you pull, you're kind of out of luck. But I'm guessing the majority of people who've been playing for a while.
For completing this. The problem is they all require investments of resources in some
which
way,
are not
shape,
worth
or form.
it. Yeah.
Either pulling on the current banner that's available, or as I mentioned, using your EX tokens on Zac if you happen to still have them.
Right.
There's still limited resources you're burning, though.
Well, and
so there's ways to do it, but they require spending those resources.
And that's the reality. If you only, so let's say, Eamon, you got Cloud's EX, you can have, Aerith's, you have a couple other characters just with 1535s, fine. You can probably get through normal and even quite a bit of hard with no problem. So you're going to miss out on maybe a book, and is it even a whole book? Is it one book each?
It's half a book. It's
so
the same normal.
It's
the same resources as a normal cosmos.
So you're going to miss half a book and a quarter of a nugget. So yeah. So I mean,
you guys hit the nail on the head just now, where it's kind of like the rewards are almost insignificant enough. I mean, I think you get a good amount of gems, but when it comes to books and ingots, at a time where they're already insanely scarce, like Chris said, no matter how you look at it, you have to invest to get through this.
Yeah.
Like if you have to have invested to get through this, and you don't get a good return on investment. As Arrow was saying, first she said she was hoping the spring um, seasonal event gave us an influx of ingots and books, like 2 ingots or 2 books or something like that, to at least encourage us to pull. Because as I'm sure we'll talk about in our host discussion tonight, because we're going to have plenty of time, is that a lot of people are hoarding. All three of us are hoarding more than we've ever hoarded because of ingots, and then we're judging characters differently because of ingots. Like right now, you're just not rewarded for pulling because of the ingot shortage. And when they throw such a specific abyss at you that really does require like at least one 3/3 character, and they give you like what 5 nuggets back or something. Like what the fuck is that? I think if Square Enix, if you're gonna at least make the event this restrictive, I think you should give the same amount of resources back. Like if you want a 3/3 FF7 character to go into this, we should at least be getting 3 ingots back, because then it'll feel good. Huh?
Yeah, that's 100% the problem. But here's the additional problem, right? So let's say you got 2 books and 4 ingots for doing this event. You would still have to have 2 books and all the ingots to actually, get and fully limit break Cloud and Tifa and use that, though. So I'm saying you're just pulling on this one banner. You would have to have those in reserve, then use them and then get them back. And is that even at that point, is it worth that? Like, oh, okay, I guess,
try characters you would probably never try. Like, let's say they do an FF4 version. A lot of people probably don't like 3/3 a lot of FF4 characters. They'll be like, well, if I 3/3 like Rydia here and I run through, I can break even on resources and I'll have a 3/3 Rydia to play around with. I feel like that encourages pulling, that encourages playing the game more, which is good. Either way, I just hope they don't go restrictive, but I just prefer the older beta. And like we both said, the way they set up codes this time was awful. I really, really hope this is not how the real Abyss is going to be. Please don't give us generic stat downs or stat ups.
Well, it would be more interesting to have like, range characters get buffed, or Final Fantasy VII characters are synergy instead of locked out. The code is any Final Fantasy VII character has synergy and nobody else does. Or,
and then they tune up the difficulty to compensate.
Yeah, right. Well, exactly. Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna throw Squex under the bus and say this is garbage, because this is obviously a once and done event. I'm not sure if this is giving us a good sense of what Abyss is going to be, and I think the only reason I can say that, I think with some assurance, is the obvious connection to the Final Fantasy VII remake that we have. Coming out here in a couple weeks, potentially, hopefully, for those of you who downloaded it or pre-registered for the download. So I'm kind of waiting to see what actual Abyss tends to look like, and maybe it's going to be a little bit more varied and a little bit more variety, because again, this is something that JP did not get at all. So this is a unique event, right, for us. And something that they had to work on a little bit, obviously. So, yeah, a little bit more kinks than usual with that kind of stuff. But, I agree. I think we all like.
Can I say how disappointed I am that this was an FF7 themed Abyss and they didn't have an FF7 battle theme in the fights?
Yeah,
that was supremely disappointing. That feels like a no-brainer.
No Final Fantasy VII, and even using, the remake music. No Final Fantasy VII, no music. And not really a ton of Final Fantasy VII themed bosses. But you get the.
It was a lot of bosses from previous FF7 events. Though. Like Cid's bosses came back, Zack's bosses came back.
Yep. But not, they could have done remake bosses, right? So it would have been a little bit more like, although if it was the remake bosses, the boss battles would have had a lot more HP than these guys did. There was nothing. But yeah, no, yeah, the from the map music to the battle music, it was all Dissidia music. So,
Ugh.
but they had that little glitch that people were not really sure what it was, so they thought that was like, yeah,
Even our
Vane
own
saying,
Strafe thought the game was glitching after the
why
update.
is
That
the
was hilarious. Like,
why is
I
the
don't know,
game
that looked really
glitching?
intentional to me when I loaded in.
Oh yeah, it
Did
looked
Yeah,
people
oh yeah.
completely
really?
intentional to me too.
I don't know how so many people thought like their game was actually glitching out, but
My
yeah.
game is not working. Yeah, no, that was fun. That was fun. Nice little touch. So I don't know. You give this. What do you give this on what's your scale? What's your scale? Not viable, viable,
I
strong.
hated it. I'm sorry. I hated this event. I mean, I appreciate the steps going forward, and I think the codes are at least a good basis for like like a base coding that they can do for the rest of the game. But the way they implemented it was terrible. I would have been happy if they just gave me the exact same old beta with harder stages that tuned up the enemy stats. I would have been fine with that, to be honest.
CSDX is asking. I don't get it. Was there a simulation? So, yeah, that's what happens when the world. Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be the glitch is supposed to be in reference to Cloud's glitching, like where he has those tremors of memories and that kind of sense. You see it a lot more in Advent Children and the remake. It's a little bit more pronounced than it was in the original game, although it was there in the original game as well. So that's what
It's an
that is.
NT thing, as Dreamy is saying. Like in NT, um, it's the same thing as this game, where the arenas are made up from their memories, and
Oh,
then when Shinryu starts eating their memories, the glitches start coming out. So
oh yeah,
it's a
no,
reference
right.
to NT.
That
Yeah.
is an NT thing. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because yeah, it does. That the world actually glitches. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that correction. Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, I know Strafe and Macnol don't like it, so I'm not sure anybody
I
that
mean,
was super
I
hyped
didn't
for
like
it.
it much either. I felt that it was too
No.
restrictive. I basically was locked to one team the entire time because I couldn't switch away from them for the most part. So yeah, I wasn't particularly thrilled with it either. The only reason I'm not complaining about it too much is because I had the characters to actually get through it.
Well, Joshua, if you're listening, everyone hates it except me. So give me the stream slides, and I'll share them with nobody because they don't deserve it because they don't like the events.
Only FF7 diehard fans liked it. I am convinced.
I thought it was fun. It didn't bother me at all. Yes, I would look for some more variation moving forward with Abyss, but I didn't have any problem with this event. And I have all the Final Fantasy VII characters, so I guess it's an issue. But yeah, Macnol's saying he is a diehard Final Fantasy VII fan, but his dislike is proportional to how much he did like the original or the Abyss beta. So he had a lot of high hopes, and they were dashed. So that's Macnol. That's why you got to check your expectations. If you don't have any expectations, you can't be disappointed. That is the trick to living a great life. Don't have any expectations, and you'll never be disappointed. And then everything's a surprise.
Mark, before we move on, there was a lot of predicting that Aerith's EX Plus was going to come early.
Yes. Let's talk about that for
That
20
was
minutes.
hilarious. That was so funny. But I mean, a lot of people swore on their lives up and down that it was coming.
But yeah, okay.
It had a lot to do with Rem data mining it, though.
Right, but as we always say, and as Rem always says, data mining is like a hint. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. There are a lot of characters in the game that have been data mined that haven't shown up in like 2 years. And also, he's data mined abilities before that literally change as soon as it releases. So he always puts a disclaimer that data mining is not concrete confirmation. He always says that. Yet everyone rushed the fucking internet saying Aerith EX Plus is coming. I thought it was hilarious, and people were so confident. I think Tom Berry Troop went ahead and made an Aerith EX Plus infographic.
Oh yeah, they have a banner ready or an infographic ready for her.
Yeah, and the most relevant information here is that Dreamy bet Eamon that Aerith EX Plus would come and whoever lost would change their name on Discord to Chalice Bitch for a week. And so right now, if you go on Discord, you will see that Dreamy is indeed championing the title of Chalice Bitch. So, that was a lot of fun speculation that the community they really dug a hole for themselves, basically. Square Enix said nothing.
So, but
and a lot of
well, why not? That's my issue with that. 5D was saying, "Where's the $150 screenshot of the costumes?" I did post on our Twitter and our Discord. Mino and I were co-oping with the costumes. So, and I think we were co-oping with someone with Cloud's costume. So, it was in there. But
Yeah.
I don't understand. This would have been a much more hyped banner, and probably a lot more people would have
agreed.
pulled if they would have just done Aerith's realization. I mean, it wouldn't have been game breaking. It would have. It's already there. It's already in the files. People aren't going to pull on Waka's banner. Who cares, right? Like, people aren't going to pull on that banner anyway.
This goes back to them not really breaking the flow.
Yeah, I was going to say
they haven't done any changes in ordering of anything except for the early Noctis EX Plus, but that was put on the Global First character event too.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, I really think they're super against time traveling now. They really have no reason to do it because the way EX Plus is set up, I guess like every week or two, there's always some hype banner coming out, so they're probably doing fine. They probably have no incentive to time travel, and it's probably way too much. Yeah, it's probably way too much trouble to, because look how much they had to move around the first time, right? In the EX era. Yeah. Imagine like, we moved Aerith, so we can't have her on Diablos. Now we have to code a new synergy for that. It's like, I think they'd have to move around things too much, but they really just don't have to put the effort in.
No, I think you're right. I think they don't have to put the effort in. I think as Dreamy's mentioning here in chat is, why, release the costume, and people are going to buy the costume anyway, right? I mean, we know that. Aerith fans are Aerith fans. They're going to buy the costume. But, I mean, it just seemed like, okay, so, give her the realization now and have it repeat on the banner. Who cares? But, again, why? They didn't have to do that, obviously, and they didn't.
I agree.
And they didn't. They didn't. Yeah. So, who cares?
I'm kind of glad. I would have 3-3'd. I would have 3-3'd Aerith.
Oh, me too.
That would, like, we already talked about ingot scarcity, so this is me back on track with my plans. If they really messed with my plans, Square Enix, that would have been good for you. Well, I probably would have panic pulled more and did stuff, but
exactly, because by the time Aerith comes around,
I am so glad I hate Aerith's kit, because there was no way I was going to realize her, even if it did come early.
Yeah, I would have 3-3'd it if it came early. Now I'm not sure if I'm gonna 3-3 it if it comes normally.
Well, we're gonna have Hope right before we have Aerith, and we're gonna have Arciela right after we have Aerith. So I'm not sure she's gonna get a lot of play on my team, even though I like the kit. But
exactly,
like you said, I don't have thousands of Iggy's running around to purple everybody I would like. And if I did, I would have a lot less resources. I wouldn't have 1,400 tickets and several thousand, 100,000 gems. Right? I would have a lot less because I would be pulling on stuff because I, have an itchy trigger finger and I like to play with new characters like, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles characters. Randomly.
Yeah, well, like the event that the banner accompanied, it was all just one giant missed opportunity. So
missed opportunity. Well, anything else on Abyss? All right. Well, let us move. Yes.
One thing to say. Sorry, there might be another banner.
Yes.
It's not really clear, but this banner ends before Abyss does, which means there might be some time for them to slip in another one.
We are still missing Selfie's EX, which was on the Phoenix Cave event with Noctis EX realization. And that was actually Selfie, Noctis, Lise, and Rosa Barrett Agrius, 2 triple EX banners, which we did not get. We got Noctis's EX realization early. We have not gotten Selfie's rework and her EX realization. We don't expect to get the Phoenix Cave event, but so if there is another banner, it would be nice to have Selfie. But speaking of banners, we have 2 new banners right
And
now.
they just went live, and I just got Seymour's EX on the free poll.
Yeah.
Nice, congrats.
I wanted Papa Limo, though.
Oh,
I'm probably still going to throw tickets at
DD
it.
Rocks 13 is saying that there is a confirmed in-game notice of another banner. So somebody might want to check that.
I must have missed it. It might be part of the Spring Festival thing. Maybe it specifies more.
Let me look at Spring Festival while we're sitting around and people are making their free polls. We do have free polls on both of these. So first free multi-draw, so it's multiple multi-draws in the description, but let me see if we can see anything. Yes, so Event Draw 1, Event Draw 2 Cerberus, that's March of the Machines, Event Draw 2 Cerberus Raids, Event Draw 2 Cerberus Raids, and then Event Draw Spring Festival Part 2, and that is March 31st. So that there will be another something, part of the spring event, so that will likely be another banner, and perhaps that will be Selfie's EX and her rework. So who knows? We'll see when we get that. So
Gotcha. Okay.
we are in the midst of a new event, the 9th part of the level 70 Awakening Waves. And this is not our final. Is number 10 our final?
We have one more Awakening Wave after this.
So this is the second to last Awakening Wave. Our final Awakening Wave for level 70 characters is Lightning, Hope, Shadow, Waka, and Ciaran. Cyan, like the color, like the old guy with the sword. And that super awesome banner, and then those other 2 characters who are on there as well. But this is the 9th banner, or the 9th part of our Awakenings, that bring us Seymour with an EX Realization, a rework, Papa Lemo with his new EX, a rework, Snow, level 70, Kistis with her EX, level 70, Sid with his EX, level 70, and Kane on banner 2. We do get free polls on both of these banners. They are Superfly. So we're going to talk about the 2 characters. Obviously, the first banner is a little bit more appealing with 2 new EX realizations and 1 new EX for a fairly underhyped character in the 3515 CP that I think all of us got and really enjoyed, Papa Lemo, and then a character who was never particularly hyped and never particularly good. Seymour got his EX back in March of last year in one of the late Awakening Waves for level 60, and it was... I'd have to go back and listen to the episode, but I don't think we spent a lot of time on Seymour's EX because it was not super exciting. But Seymour did get a rework. His rework makes him a lot more useful than he was. If you remember Seymour back originally, he was kind of like a magic version of Tidus. He had a quick attack called Chain Spell that was really a brave attack that was tied to some elements. He then had the Lance of Atrophy, which was a Brave plus HP attack that did debuffs. So he was a magic attacking debuffer. And then he got his EX weapon, Requiem, which was an AoE attack. Gave him some buffs. Not very exciting. Seymour has been changed. I'm going over his kit in case I didn't make that clear. Seymour has been changed drastically. So he is still a magic attacker, magic damage dealer with debuffs, but he now has a special mechanic where if the target's HP is less than 80%, his abilities trigger additional abilities. So his skill 1, which is now a Brave plus HP attack with overflow, that is executed twice. So it's a 2-hit Brave plus HP and then another 2-hit Brave plus HP. If the target is less than 80%, it then triggers again. Chain Spell is triggered again. So you can imagine you're doing basically 4 HP attacks. That's pretty significant. 8 Brave hits, 4 HP attacks. That's pretty good. Not too bad at all. And that does give I Brave down debuff. Then Lance of Atrophy, which was his big debuff attack, which gives the attack down, defense down, max brave down. That is a now splash damage attack that does 4 brave hits plus HP, 50% splash damage, which is great. But if the target is less than 80% HP, it triggers Chain Spell and applies those debuffs, the I Brave down, or the buffs if he's run out of his max brave. So then Lance of Atrophy will then trigger Chain Spell, which is kind of cool. Now Requiem does the same thing if you fully realize him. Requiem does the same thing. Requiem, his 3-hit AoE Brave plus HP split damage attack, which does significant overflow, and gives him his Seymour's whatever it's called, his one of his frame buffs. He has 2 frame buffs. His EX frame buff. I'm missing the name of it here. That will then, if you
Seymour's Rispose.
Okay, Seymour's Rispose, and what's the other one? Maester of Yevon? Is that the other one?
Maester of Yevon.
Okay, good. Okay, so those are the 2 frame buffs. But yeah, Seymour's Rispose is the one from the EX weapon. But if you fully realize him, the Requiem attack, if the target is under 80%, it will do the Requiem attack. Then it will do a Lance of Atrophy attack. And if the target is under 30%, it will do Chain Spell. So it will do Requiem, Lance of Atrophy, Chain Spell. I mean, that's pretty cool. Not to mention that Requiem gives you then a free ability use on your next turn. So I mean, I can continue to go over the ins and outs of Seymour's kit, but I mean, he's doing decent damage, and he's doing a lot of different, a lot of consecutive chain attacks, which is kind of cool. But it is really based on having your enemy under 80% and then really having your enemy under 30%, which I know a lot of people have been complaining about. Oh, that sucks. I kind of like it, though, in the idea that, a lot of our characters kind of hit walls when the enemy's under, especially in Chaos, when the enemy's under 30% HP. Now Seymour kind of really shines and really has that opportunity to really do some additional damage. So potentially, this theoretically, and I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Again, my big issue with this banner and these 2 characters, which did I get anything on my free draw? Yeah, I got Seymour's 15. Super. I'll throw some tickets in while somebody else is talking about Pablo. But my big issue with this is these are both damage dealers, Papa and Seymour. Basically, they are magic damage dealers. Yes, Seymour has debuffs. Papa has Imperil Enchant. But we're coming off of, I've got Purple Ace, I got Purple Kuja, I got Purple Ultimecia, I got Purple Emperor. Who else? I got Purple Renoa. I could Purple Terra if I needed to. Not that I would. There's probably some other mage characters, black mages, that I'm missing. Lulu's there. She's more support, though. So I wasn't really thinking, but just in terms of damage dealers. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, Mino, do you want to tear apart Seymour?
So, I mean, let me preface this by saying I'm hesitant to just go all out on any character now, because I feel like we're at a stage where any, like the cliche goes, any character can work if you build around them at this point in Chaos. This is like mid-Chaos. It feels like Cosmos era, where people are just pulling on anything. Like, people are making Ciaran work for the longest time, and Layle and Gao and all these characters that we really didn't, that aren't just popular, but they'll work. So I'm hesitant to call anyone pure trash anymore, but I will go through the pros and cons, I guess. Well, let me just tackle the cons. You got the pros. Mainly, one is, man, I do not like that he is the first debuff character with EX Plus that doesn't automatically apply their debuff on the target anymore. Like Edgar does it.
Fang was the first.
Okay, Fang's awful though. She doesn't count. She's like the first EX Plus ever. But like all the others, like Edgar and Seven, like they all apply theirs automatically. So it's weird that Seymour kind of does have this ramp up. He has a lot of ramp up if you think about it. Every time you enter a new wave, you have to apply the debuff,
Yes.
then you have to get them to under 80%. So there's a few steps you have to take for him to hit his maximum potential, which is really weird. It feels weird, and I really personally I dislike the HP condition because, well, one, my playstyle in general, I don't like things that depend on the enemy, right? Like I'd always rather have buffs on my side than
What
debuffs on the enemy
would
side.
you rather have like stacking mechanics or like tempo characters though? I mean, we have a lot of characters who kind of, I mean, we were just talking about tempo characters last week, but think of all the characters we have with stacking mechanics. Isn't it? I think I would prefer to have it on the boss as opposed to on the character. Now, yeah, you can't control all of the boss debuffs and everything else, but you can control the boss damage. That's how you play the game. Like I feel like it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, I mean that's fair, but to answer your question personally, yeah, I would actually prefer like Ciaran or Sabin to this. I'm not saying debuff characters are bad. Of course, we've seen amazing ones. I used Ferris a good amount early on. A lot of people used Emperor. Like I really undersold Fran through Cosmos. I almost planned to pull her EX plus just because I had such a good time with her in Cosmos. And debuff characters can work. I'm just saying, given the choice, me personally, I would always go for buff characters, even stacking tempo character buff characters that I normally hate. And that's because very few fights can ever say you can't have this buff, but many fights can say you can't have this debuff. That's the one thing. And the HP conditional gives a lot of people hard choices. People either want to save up his skills until the enemy is low enough for him to do his big burst, or like you said, he's probably not going to be good on trash waves, right? Like you probably don't want to use his skills on trash waves. You're like, I'm going to save all his skills until the boss is under 80%. Or even if you do want to use him on trash waves, he's probably not effective because the mobs are unbuffed and they're above 80% HP. So he's just really awkward. I like, do you hoard with Seymour, or do you play him as a less effective damage dealer a third of the time? Maybe.
Well, remember he gets free ability use. So and he's got 14 base abilities. So I mean, and his AA is his new AA, which I didn't talk about because who cares, is also an attack too. So I mean, he's got 16 base attacks and EX that does allow you to get additional uses. And his HP is not terrible, right? It's a 2 brave plus HP with overflow, HP plus attack that he gets if you fully realize him. So, I mean, again, there's all kinds of characters that you kind of do the same thing because you wait till you get to the boss to use their abilities, or only use a few abilities first. So, and again, Eamon, Eamon's the same trash wave. A lot of our chaos fights are 2 waves, and it is just bosses. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone should pull for. I want to end this episode with all you people pulling for Seymour.
And I mean, of course, I'm glad you're here defending the character, but I'm just saying I'm bringing up all the things that I would consider downsides. The other thing is, so again,
I just feel so bad for Seymour. He's just.
Oh yeah, no problem. This is extremely anecdotal evidence. From the handful of JP players I've talked to that actually 3-3'd him. Very anecdotal.
Oh, I was gonna say, there were actual people that 3-3'd Seymour?
Yeah. So because on paper he looks amazing, right? Like we all think so. But this is super anecdotal evidence. This does not prove anything. Right. But I'm just saying because they could have built badly, they could have been not great players. I don't know, but from the ones I've talked to, generally they said like the damage boost is amazing once between say 80% health to 30% health, but once you start getting those bigger kicks in defense, he starts chunking for tiny bits, like not enough to take full advantage of his kit. So that is something to consider. I don't know if that can be bypassed with better team building, but that is just something I heard. And that's all I've got. I do appreciate that he is a neutral element. So you team him up with Imperilers and Channers, and on top of his own, amplified damage on debuffed enemies, that could probably rack up to a lot. So I do appreciate that. He has a lot of flexibility for a caster. at least.
Yeah.
But those are the downsides that
Yeah,
I
I had
foresee.
in my head chain spell was tied to elements, but it is not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, no.
So, Kreese, what are your thoughts here?
He seems very interesting. I kind of have a soft spot for Seymour because he was my first 35 CP I ever got in the game, and I used him for several months
Yeah,
because of that, because he was so strong with that 35 CP early on. But he's also not particularly a good character. He kind of got shafted in the 60 Awakening era, and he came out so late in 70 Awakening that it's hard to say for certain how much he stands. His biggest problem, I think, is his competition.
Yeah.
He is ostensibly a pure offensive damage dealer with the advantage that he also provides a bunch of debuffs. But we have characters like Emperor who are very close in what he is doing in many ways. We have characters like Ultimisia, Vaughn. So we have other characters, other mages that have been around for a while, and if anyone has actually invested in a couple of those mages, they probably don't need another mage. And I think that's his biggest problem. He doesn't bring enough that's unique, and his downsides are enough to detract from investing in him when we know there's a lot of exciting characters coming in the next month.
Yeah, and that's my problem with this banner. Is he better than Emperor? Is he better than Ultimisia? No, obviously not. Is he better than Kuja or Ace at just pure, or even Renoa at just pure damage dealing? No, not particularly.
Right. If
Golbez,
we're comparing him to other debuff characters, I mean, Emperor's his closest competition, and all of Emperor's debuffs are framed, so they're less likely to be resisted. Seymour's 100% generic, which I do not care for personally.
Yeah.
I think you said it yourself too. He will work if you want to build him. He is strong. The one problem I have with him is his HP conditional on when he really ramps up. Chaos fights have a lot of health, which means you have to burn through a fifth of it before he can actually start doing the damage he's supposed to. And that's a bit of a downside.
Maybe he'll be a good friend unit if you want to, like Mark said, just burst the shit out of a boss that's low. Maybe you can bring him in, debuff. Once the boss has all their huge buffs going, Seymour can debuff and then blow them up in 5 turns and then leave. I can
imagine bringing him in near the end of a boss's health, starting with the EX, having it trigger all of his abilities in one go, then just spamming Lance of Atrophy until his EX comes back up, and then recasting it as the last turn. I could see him being a very strong friend unit. But I don't know how many people are actually going to 3-3 and stick him as a friend unit either.
Wataboo is asking, would you rather have Seymour friend over in magic resist fights? Yes. Or magic absorb fights? Sure.
You mean ranged?
Oh no! Oh yeah. Right. No. I mean, I would. Yeah. Exactly. I know. I just want to challenge. I want to get him, to really shine with that versus, magic absorb. See how really powerful he is. Hey, if anybody does like Seymour and is interested in his kid and actually uses him, let us know how it goes. And if somebody sets him as a friend, let me know. And I'd be happy to test him out. I mean, I'm assuming I'm not going to get a ZX. And even if I do, I'm not going to purple him. And you do really need to purple him. I mean, I think that's that's the sad part about Seymour. I mean, he is a attacker, a damage dealer. But yeah, to really get the most out of him, certainly you need to 3-3 him. His realization. So, yeah. All right. Well, is Kreese taking Papa Limo?
I will take Papa Limo. I was just quickly looking up what the other characters got on their 70 Awakenings, if we want to touch on those afterwards. But yeah, let's cover Papa Limo first.
Mm-hmm. If it helps, the only people that got Awakenings were Seymour and Kane. Wait,
no,
is that right?
No, everybody.
Those are the only ones I could awaken.
There were 6 characters that got awakened.
You should be able to awaken all 6 of them. They were all level 70 or level 60.
They were all level 60 before now.
Yeah.
What the? Let me check.
Yeah, Macnol from Macnol's Called Arms, MACNOL, says, Mino Spellgood, I think you undersell debuffs too much in general. They are not just damage increasers. They make some bosses much more manageable and sometimes let you forego using a tank or a healer. like I used Vincent in this current Abyss, and that was sad for all those bosses because they couldn't do anything. Anyway, Kreese, take it away.
Okay, so Papa Limo got a rework along with a new EX. So let me go through what his rework brings him first. Astral Fire now deals splash damage. It hits more times, so that's a plus. And he deals fire resist down to all enemies when he does that. That's the big thing there. He gets overflow on all of his abilities. No big surprise there. Umbral Ice has a larger Brave gain based on Int Brave. It will do a single target ice resist down when it hits. That's the basic things, nothing huge. So basically, he just hits a little harder. He imperils his own elements to help, and he can do some AoE damage with Astral Fire now. Just keep in mind that Astral Fire is the only thing that does splash damage. Brave Plus and HP Plus are still single target, and Umbral Ice is pure single target, so he will not do any AoE with that. Other thing to keep in mind is his new EX. That's the real kicker here and what he really got. His EX changes depending on which stance he's in, if he's in Astral Fire or Umbral Ice. If he's in Astral Fire, he gets access to Fire 4, which is a AoE Brave plus HP attack executed twice. And in Umbral Ice, he gets Blizzard 4, which gives him a huge Brave gain based on his Int Brave before a single target Brave plus HP attack. Big thing here is that he actually gets Brave regen after the turn, after his action, based on the damage dealt, so he doesn't keep himself open for breaks. Regardless on which one you use, however, he gets two things. He extends his own buffs for a few turns, and he gets a new mechanic called Polyglot. Polyglot gives him access to a special HP++ named Foul. When he does Foul, he does an AoE Brave plus HP attack that, 1, deals full HP damage to all targets. It's a free turn. It does not increase turn count. He gets a free ability use on his next turn, but it also consumes the Polyglot. So he uses Foul and then his turn's over, basically. But he does a lot of AoE HP damage from that. So that's the basics of what he does. His realization of his EX weapon basically just makes him much better. He gets to start with some buffs, he gets a free ability use, he gets better stats, his Brave Plus and HP Plus become stronger versions. And if you fully realize him, he gets the real kicker. Basically, his EX becomes a free turn, and he inflicts ice or fire resist down based on which ability he's used, and Foul hits a lot harder. So, as a pure DPS character, Papa Limo definitely does need to be fully realized if you want to use him in Chaos content, because you'll want those free turns, you'll want to get as much damage out as possible, as fast as possible with him. And really, what you're going to do with Papa Limo, what you're going to target, what abilities you want to focus on, depends on the situation. If you're dealing more with multiple targets, you want to stick with his Astral Fire attacks, get the splash damage, make sure you're using Fire 4 for the AoE damage that it deals. If you're dealing with a single boss, then Umbral Ice is your go-to, because it gives him a pretty nice Brave regen. He gets Brave gains that are basically agnostic of enemy defenses. He gets a lot of Brave through his Int Brave stat, and he protects himself a little bit because Blizzard 4 does restore Brave based on HP damage dealt after turn. And he still has access to Foul. But that's pretty much it for Papa Limo. He's very simple and very easy to understand. He does the same thing he did, just he hits harder, he does more, he has the potential to do AoE damage, and he gets free turns out of the situation. He's strong, but he's a pure selfish damage dealer. He can imperil his own elements, which is nice, definitely a plus. So he's a little more free to function in fights where he might have been suffering before, but again, you're still not going to bring him to a fight where the boss is high resist or immune to either element, because it's going to lock out half his kit, basically. So just keep that in mind. He doesn't have any real benefits for the team, though, and I think that's what really holds him back. He's taking your pure damage slot, so keep that in mind. Mark, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I really like his rework, and I really like his EX. I mean, I like the ability to switch the EX, like Onion Knight has. I think that's cool. That's a nice option to throw in there. Yeah, I liked him originally. I said I think a lot of us pulled him when we were pulling for Lightning, and ended up finding him very fun to play and very useful for a long time. So again, just like on paper, as theoretically as we're saying, we don't have experience with him. I think he does look really good, really solid. My problem is the same problem I had with Seymour. Whether we're talking about mage damage or we're talking about elemental damage, we just came off a big string of elemental characters, and we've come off a long string of great mages. So how much use is Papa going to get? Unless you need an extra elemental slot, or you haven't done tier 8 yet, he's a good slot in there, or if you're just looking for some extra magic damage. But those of us who have those things pretty well filled out probably don't need to go hard on Papalimo. But like I said, I think he looks pretty solid. I don't know any real downsides to his kit besides potentially just longevity, but even then, with his EX and the restoration and his new HP ability, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, right? Running out of abilities.
Yeah, Papa Limo getting free ability uses after using Foul.
Yeah.
The fact he has decent HP pluses and Brave pluses to work with. The fact that if he's in Umbrella stance, he can ignore a lot of enemy defenses by just gaining Brave based on Int Brave instead. He has a lot of potential to work out well. You just have to make sure you bring people to support him. He's not going to support anyone else. You need someone else to support him.
And obviously, like any elemental character, he's going to be locked out of fights that absorb his elements. But, besides that,
People have made more restrictive element characters work, like Vaughn.
No
Vaughn
doubt.
still works in some cases, just ask Arrow.
No doubt. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta see, because I think Papalimo is equally dependent on both of his elements, whereas other characters skew a little more towards one or the other. For example, Sabin skews more towards wind damage than holy damage, which is why Inkwelder, God, I forgot his name already. Inkwelder has run him in so many holy absorb fights, because once you get that wind imperil, his HP plus hits holy and wind, or is it just wind? Either way, it bypasses that.
I thought it's that Sabin enchants wind and holy on himself, so his HP plus becomes wind holy.
Oh yeah. And then he can ignore the holy absorb on his HP plus, on his skill 2, and on his EX. The only thing that gets eaten is his skill 1, and even then, like you said, if you battery it enough, it'll still hit for full and splash really hard, which Papa does here. But Papa is equally dependent on fire and ice. His EX switches with the element. I mean, I know this is a tired argument, but it just personally bothers me that fire is already the most absorbed thing in all of Chaos. Sure, you bring him to fights without that, just like any other fire character, that's fine. But the boss also has to not resist ice too. So he's actually even more limited than, say, any character that's just running fire and ice. Slightly more limited. Of course, Mark's saying, well, how does he compare to other mages? I feel like he has to be the strongest fire attacker right now, and probably ice attacker as well. The problem is you just have to make sure neither of the two are absorbed in any way.
Just to cut you off quickly, Mino,
Sure.
I'd say he's a little less dependent on having to get through that ice resistance, because he does battery himself so much on all of his attacks.
That's fair.
It's still going to hurt him, but he'll be able to work around it. Fire is going to be the big limiter for him.
That's very fair. You're right. So maybe I would say he skews more towards fire. And I would say if you ever just need big fire damage or big ice damage, he's your guy. Like, you can make it work. It's just also, true to his source game, black mages in FF14 are pure damage, zero raid utility. They're famous for that. People are very hesitant to bring a black mage when they're doing progression, but when you farm content and you know the fight really well, big damage, sure, go for it. And I just guess, in a personal note, I like characters like Onion Knight, who you can kind of put in different roles. Whereas Papalimo, I feel like, is a very, not only is it a pure DPS character, but it's a very niche DPS character because of the elements. So it's not like Aranea, where you can just, I need damage, let me bring Aranea. This is kind of like, do I need fire damage? Do I need ice damage specifically, magic damage, but not like universal damage? We were just talking about the flexibility of Seymour being entirely elementless. Pabalimo's the almost the exact opposite, where like 90% of his kit is pure elements. Uh, I pulled his EX in 105 tickets, and I'm a little tipsy, and I'm still not sure if I want to invest in this. If I want to put
I would
ingots into
suggest
this.
booking him and see
Yeah, I'm
how he
gonna
works for
book
you
it.
that way, because
Right.
I did the same, and that gives you most of his kit. The only thing you don't get is the stronger EX ability and the free turn after with EX, basically.
Right. So
So
I'm
it
just
gives you a
saying,
good
like,
handle on how he'll work.
I'm just saying that immediate reaction says a lot to me that my decision making's already impaired, and I'm already reluctant to put ingots into this character because once again, ingot shortage, right? And there are other characters coming up very soon who are very strong. So I'm just not sure if I want to do it. Mainly, the element stuff doesn't bother me too much. That's just the tidbit for people who are looking for universally strong characters. Like these are Papalimo's limitations, but just the zero utility to party really bothers me as a player. I really don't like characters like that. I don't think I've ever run characters like that.
I think Papalimo falls into the similar issue that other pure mages in the Chaos era have run into. Either they provide some support, or they are taking your DPS slot. It was Ultimisia for the first month and second month. It was Emperor more recently, and Papalimo is basically filling that same slot, except he doesn't even bring a debuff that everyone can benefit from.
Mm. Yeah, see, like people argue Ulti and Emp are selfish DPS too. Emp kind of, he has a good amount of defense down, which I can respect. But Ulti had gravities and saps. Like she was not a selfish DPS. I really do not think that of her at all.
She was the closest thing to a selfish DPS the first month, though, other than Ace, I guess.
Yeah, Ace and Kuja both have
Zell?
some
I don't know.
auras.
Yeah,
but
I guess we did have Zell as a selfish DPS,
Yeah.
but who actually invested in Zell?
No, Cell has that 80% defense down, I
he
guess.
does
My
have a
bad.
debuff.
So it's very rare that a character is this selfish. I don't know.
But he's still, I mean, Papa still has the Imperil, so, you know, in some sense, that synergizes with other characters of the elements.
That's true. That's true. That is true.
The big problem, though, is that a lot of characters that are being released now imperil their own elements.
Correct. Yep.
It's more common to see them imperil their own elements than see a new character come out that cannot get around their own element and make an enemy weak to it, other than, like, Jekt.
Yeah, so
poor
Jet,
fuck that kid.
you can bring Snow and Jet and Papalimo, and yeah, then there you go. Because Snow doesn't ever imperil his own element.
Except you aren't getting any auras there, and you're probably going to
No,
run into
whatever.
the defense wall
No,
of Chaos very fast.
It'll be fine.
Oh, Aemon says a good point. Perfect for the two characters that just released that can't imperil their own elements, Kamlanot and Jekt. One is heavy ice.
Yeah.
Another has like 5 uses of fire.
You know who else can
And they
do that?
both-
Shantado.
Yep.
Or
Oh,
Twins.
yeah.
Twins
Oh,
can
yeah.
imperil both those.
Oh yeah. You know what? Actually, I declare Shantoto the superior midget. Oh, sorry, little person.
Camlanot and Papa. If you missed Camlanot, man, you missed out on the super team. Camlanot and Papamo. Super team.
But anyways, I think we get the point. Papalamo is not bad, but he is a selfish DPS, so keep that in mind if you want to invest in him. You just need to build around him is the big issue.
Yeah, so Kreese, did you want to bring us through any of the other level 70 awakenings? What did these fools get that we're not going to use?
I'll quickly touch on the things they got for additional abilities and if they have any notable passive changes. Sid gets Arrow Enchant attack up, which gives him Wind Enchant and raises his attack for a few turns. Snow gets all HP regen attack up, so raises the party's attack and gives a party regen to the party for a few turns. He does get a party attack aura for max HP and attack with his Crystal Strength 68. So he is the second character to raise the party's max HP after Bosch.
Yep.
Plus there. Kane gets an additional ability that is a Brave plus HP attack,
Woohoo!
and then gives him Brave recovery based on HP damage dealt. If you get his extension or bloom him, he also gets an attack boost to it. Pistis gets an ability recovery. She gets another Degenerator Whip use and another Laser Whip use with her additional ability. If you get her extension, she gets a party limit boost effect too. And her Crystal Strength 68 gives her a small boost to her party max brave and attack auras.
So good.
Some characters get some attack auras in this. Some characters get some nice additions with their additional ability. Nothing that's going to turn them into amazing characters all of a sudden. For example, Snow's still not great, but at least he can give the party some healing. And since he's as slow as Molasses now, his allies will actually be able to take advantage of it for a little while.
Well, I already level 70'd Kistis, and hope you all want to see her in co-op because that's who I'm bringing.
I'll probably be bringing Snow.
Kate, yeah, let's we have to co-op together once on the show with all our really outdated characters and see if we make it through, guys.
My Snow only has one summon board complete.
Oh, that's good.
Just FYI.
My Kane is so... I ran Kane recently for something. I think summon boards. I was like, man, even in Synergy, his max brave is like 25k, and that is so sad by today's standards. It's just
it's not great.
But his AA is a brave plus HP attack. We all know those are the best AAs.
Yeah.
I use clouds all the time still. You know, those 2 critical crushes really carry some runs for me.
Yep.
No?
Yeah, I think it'll... Again, they're not going to turn these characters into amazing things, but if you need help getting through the Abyss, Arolai used Sid before he was awakened.
Yep.
So if you pull his EX, it might help you. Remember that Sid can dispel with his second ability that you have his 35 CP weapon passive equipped, so he can help, especially with that second wave where those guys put up that HP damage resist. He can help get around that. So keep that in mind. Sid is actually a viable option if you need someone to help get you through the chaos fight.
So Aeons is going to be helping you with the Kane co-ops, and Arolai is going to be using the Sid in her co-op. So
we're all heroes, guys. We're not looking for carries. We're heroes. We're heroes.
I'm pretty the purple Seymour. That's the real hero. I think all those purple Seymours you're saying, that's going to be the real hero. You buy that person a drink if you get into a room and you have a purple Seymour with you. You send that person an iTunes gift card or something because they deserve it. They deserve it using their Iggies like that.
Do we want to go through the podcast polls quickly, Mark?
Yeah, please. Let's go podcast polls and then a couple questions maybe.
Yeah, so podcast polls for the Seymour Papa Limo banner. 3 people were going to pity it. 1 person was going to drop gems on it. And a bunch of people were going to ticket it, about 39. Only about 5 people saying they were going to skip the banner.
Who is going to pity it? Do we have names?
Who's what, Mark?
Who is going to pity it? Do we have names?
I can give you names. I was going to keep them secret.
Write them in the notes.
People who were planning to pity this banner are J.A, Bishop, and a Syncty.
Interesting. J.A is going to pity this banner. He's one of our mods, if you all don't know who are listening. So, wow. You shame them. No, I congratulate you for your life choices. They're good characters.
I think Seymour and Papa are very fun to play. Power aside, I think Papa looks like a blast to play, and Seymour's kit looks interesting too. This is just pure fun. J.A was actually, I think he was asking that in our mod channel earlier this week. He's saying, guys, I'm on the fence. I kind of want to pity this banner for, I forgot who he wanted, but
Papa.
But he's like, should I do it? And then Jin's like, yeah, play the game, right? Like, pull for characters you think are going to be fun and you're going to have fun using it. Play the game. Like, hoarding all the time is not going to keep you...
I'll also point out we're not getting a lot of mages in the next month or so.
You
So this is
are
the last run of like a solid mage banner if you need a mage to fill out your roster.
you are correct.
There's going to be Ashes EX plus on the Fran Lost chapter, but that's it, right?
Yeah, because X Death really isn't. He's got his own thing going on. Is Caius a mage? The Final Fantasy 13.
No, Caius is not a mage.
He's
I believe
physical. I don't even. Kuja comes back, but we've already had him. Yeah, Cloud of Darkness. Call of Duty. Cloud of Darkness is going to be the next, but that's not going to be till the middle of June, maybe.
Yeah, 2.5 months away.
I guess Beatrix is actually a mage.
Beatrix,
Never mind.
Beatrix is I'm talking to Aerith. I mean, there are people that do magic, but in terms of although Aerith does decent damage, doesn't she? But yeah, Beatrix is magic. We always forget that. So if you don't have Beatrix, she is solid magic. So yeah, Caius, Ian's is saying, is melee. So thank you for that. I did not remember off the top of my head. But yeah, she's not really a magic mage. The same kind of character. But yeah,
she's a much more supporty character.
Yeah, we have a lot of magic supports. Alpha Nod and RCL are both magic supports. Black Cloud is saying, but in terms of just pure damage dealers, magic damage dealers, yeah, we're not going to see a lot, and not see a lot of elemental ones moving forward here for a couple months.
So yeah, if you're looking for a solid, strong offensive mage to fill out rosters and get the damage in, Seymour and Papalimo can both fill that slot in different ways. Moving on, though, pull for the other Awakening wave that includes Sid EX and Kistis EX, and most people are going to skip it.
I was going to say
most people are going to skip it.
If anyone's
one person who...
Oh, go ahead.
We have one person who says they're going to spend some gems on the banner, 7 people who plan to drop some tickets on it, and the majority of people are going to skip the banner.
Yeah, we should shame that person, though. No, I think there was somebody who missed out on Kistis' EX or something. But yeah, they do come back on good banners, so I'm not sure that your gems are well used on that, but it's your stuff. You use it how you want to use it, folks. Yeah, so let's move on to our host discussion.
We got the weapon pulls quickly, and then we can move on to host discussion.
Oh,
Sorry,
also, Ragnamune is saying, you can pull Sid if you need help for Abyss. That's very true.
Yeah, Sid can help for Abyss. I tried to point that out earlier. Sid can dispel. He does range damage. He does wind damage. And I do not think either of those are resisted for the Chaos. And as I said, Arolai made him work and before he got his 70 Awakening, so he'll much better work now.
Yes.
Quickly for the weapon pulls, 15 people say they're going to 3-3 Papalimo. About 9 people say they're going to book him only. 5 people are going to leave him at EX, base EX, and 1 person's going to raise him to 1 out of 3. For Seymour, most people are just going to leave him at EX, which is reasonable considering most people probably might have pulled his EX on the previous Awakening waves. Okay. A few people are just going to book him, 7 people. 3 people are planning to 3-3 him, and 1 person's going to raise him to 1 out of 3.
All right, well.
Okay, I was considering 3-3ing Papalimo after I do an ingot count, but maybe I'll just 3-3 Seymour since I'll be the contrarian of the group then.
Do it! Yeah. I want to
we'll
hear
see.
results next week.
I got to check my ingot investments for the next month and make sure I can actually support doing that before I actually drop ingots into him.
Yes, and if you're looking to plan out your ingot usage, the Tomberry Troop does have a nice planning tool that is on our Discord and available from them as well. So you can kind of track out your expenditures moving forward. So, yeah, question time. Do we have any questions?
We've got a handful that we should be able to blow through before our time.
Nino, tell us the questions.
Okay. Eamon asks, if you had a choice, which EX Plus would you want them to bring earlier? That's a silly question. Kane EX Plus, of course.
Obviously.
Easily one of the stronger, or Realms, favorite characters, late EX Pluses. They're like so brokenly strong. I'll take Kane or Realm. Mark?
I would like Red 13 and Riku. They're EX plus. Oh wait, no, those aren't in the game. Crap. Yeah, who? Oh, I'd like Kista's EX plus. She is one of my favorite characters, and I would like to have her right now realized. So yeah.
Treese?
I would love to get Thancred's EX plus early.
Oh yeah.
I love that character. I used him so much when he was first awakened, and when he got his EX weapon and rework, I would use him again in a heartbeat if he came early.
Yeah.
Guys, Kane has sucked forever. Let him get a little time in the sun and the spotlight, please.
We know Square Enix hates Kane, and they love
They
Thancred.
hate Kane.
So we're going to get Thancred early, and Kane's going to get delayed even further.
They hate Kane. They hate Kane so much. Okay, so Minion asks, what is the worst offense someone can do while you're in co-op? Examples are playing a character badly, hogging every turn, wasting too much time, etc. Kreese, you want to feel this one first?
Going AFK as soon as they hit ready.
Oh,
and
that
then
is
wasting time, because what happens is they go the whole 60 seconds, brave attack.
Yeah,
go the whole 60 seconds, brave attack. That has happened on occasion, and they would be AFK for the whole co-op, no matter how long it lasted.
Mark?
Yeah. Now, I forgive this offense when it is obviously, rank 50, Cloud EX, without a 15 or 35 CP in a boosted room in a non-boosted event for that character. That's fine. But when I see a platinum plated, 800 rank plus person bringing Aranea or some other garbage. I did co-op the other day. I did 5 co-ops the other day. All of them, I think it was in the Ciaran event, all of them non-boosted characters in boosted only rooms, and I was a guest. So these people started boosted only rooms, and I think the default is just for fun. So they had to go to boosted only and then bring a non-boosted character, and all for one. One of them was like, a rank 100 player, obviously new to the game, didn't know. That's fine. I help carry them through. That's not a problem. But when it's obvious people who've been playing a while that know what they're doing and who are showing up to just play just for fun. It's just for fun. It's just for fun. You're having fun. You're not bringing a boosted character. That's like every week since this show has started, I have complained about artifacts and that particular issue. So that's, I hate that. Yeah. Mino, what do you hate?
Hate 13 saying default is what you last chose.
Oh,
right, but when an event starts, you do still default to just for fun. So I'm saying a lot of people are probably really making that switch to go in with Aranea. Yeah, wow, I never even thought about that. Now I'm even more furious. Both of you took the best ones. Mine was going to be Kreese's for sure, but I think my second runner-up has to be when the boss can be killed with an HP attack and people use their EXs. And they're long EXs. No. This is back when Lightning first got her EX, and the thing is like, just tap it and it's dead. But no, they have to spam their AA. Because they have to boost it up. Then they have to summon, and then they have to use their EX. And it's like, guys, I'm running on book time here. This is completely unnecessary.
I literally did just that the other day with Tifa.
Why would you do that? I've seen that a lot with Tifa's in this one too. I've seen it a lot with Tifa's.
I was not paying attention because I usually don't when I'm playing co-op. And I AA'd, I summoned, and I EX'd, and the boss had like no health left. I could have just HP plus.
I know. It's I've seen that so much with Tifa's. They just want to show up. And it's worse because Tifa's launches too, so that's extra animation time as well. So a lot of people C65, pop the summon, EX, and then you have to go through the entire launch sequence, or at least wait till it's your turn to cancel a launch. And it's like, holy fuck, guys, you just shaved like 45 seconds off my book. Like, why? Why do you do this? You can like that's terrible. Okay.
I just like any event that I can play Ignis and be able to just spam his abilities for 7 or 8 turns while everybody else is setting up. Good
See,
times with Iggy.
I mean, I understand. That pisses me off too, and I understand it. But at least it works towards killing the boss.
That's
This
true.
does nothing. This does nothing. um, and on a related question, JD Terraforce asks if someone is in a boosted room without a boosted character, Mark, as you were just talking about. I spam Treasure Hunter sticker over the unboosted character pre-fight and post-fight. Would the host think that's crossing the line in order to enforce boosted rooms? What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, so if I'm being a guest and I go into a room and the person is not a boosted character, I don't care. I just do it. I just go in and whatever. It might, it's not a big deal. And if somebody jumps into a room that I'm hosting and it's not boosted again, I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I'm not going to say, boosted. I'm not going to cancel. I just play it. I got better things to do in my time than be angry about that. So, like, it does piss me off, but then I get on with my life, right? So, yeah, you can spam.
Here is the rule I have come up for when dealing with boosted room characters or non-boosted characters in a boosted room. If the host is doing it, then I will accept it because it's their bell. They can do it how they want. If I am a guest and someone else joins that is not boosted and they're not and they don't say like please wait or something to show that they're switching quickly, then I'll typically leave. I will not stay readied and I'll just drop out and find another room. If I am hosting and someone joins, then I will disband the room if they do not switch characters and they try to ready up with a non-boosted. That's how I enforce it.
You guys are both so generous. I use a little pointer sticker and I point to boosted, wanted, and then I point back to their character. Boosted. And I'll do that maybe 3 times before I start spamming like son of a sub or something until the room and then disband the room. And note that I only ever do co-ops with my friend Hitmonchan. So you got 2 people doing this constantly. Constant sticker spamming. But no, we always reform. I mean, usually you just reform and you'll get your boosted character, and it doesn't take off that much time, and it does save more time in the long run, I think. And I don't want to reward shitty behavior, so I out of all the hosts, I guess I do go out of my way to avoid people who do that. And the last question we have here is from Telute. Follow-up question from last week, since I wasn't clear. What's the host's favorite specific FF track? Not soundtrack, but like the one track. Can be multiple if it's too hard to choose.
I'll give my top 2 first, I guess. Number 1 is Battle on the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V. Number 2 is A Hunter's Chance from Final Fantasy IX.
Great. Well, I guess we're doing 2. I'll give 2 too. Don't Be Afraid, Final Fantasy VIII, the main fight theme, and Final Fantasy VIII, Man with the Machine Gun, the Laguna fight theme. Those are my 2 favorite tracks.
Sadly, all my favorite ones are from spin-offs. I like Answers from FF14. You know, the main theme that Nobuo Uematsu did for 14. I like the main theme from 11 that Nobuo Uematsu also did. So 14 and 11's main themes.
They're both great.
What was it? The stupid game Aces from Type Zero's main theme. Is also really good.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah, and also FF15's the what's that final boss song? It's named after Noctis, right? It's Noctis something. But you know the one I'm talking about?
The Aranea fight song is really good. When you fight her, Invictus, something like that.
Yeah,
that song's really good.
Something like that. But really good. Yeah, but those have really stuck with. I mean, the others are classics, but when I want to just listen to something good, I just put on one of those, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Mark, that we want to share before we go? Oh, a lot of people are demanding that we do a live commentary when the stream notes drop. Do you guys actually want to do that?
It would be a Monday night stream then if we did that. I will be available. Yeah, I'll be available at that time. if we want to do that.
Yeah, I'll see what's going on if I can make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be shorter, under an hour. We're just covering the 7 or so slides or so.
Yeah,
Shouldn't be too bad.
they're gonna drop at 9 o'clock, right?
Dreamy's got it. Apocalypsis Noctis.
Okay, yeah, the
That's what it is.
final boss fight. Yeah,
Yeah, I really like that one.
yeah. No, I like Final Fantasy 15 music a lot. Actually, I think it was a good soundtrack. I like most of the Final Fantasy. I have all kinds of Final Fantasy music, so and I've seen it live several times, so really cool. Well, thank you all for joining us. We will let you know if we do decide to go on Mondays. Just, pay attention to our Twitter or Discord or, follow us, subscribe, look for notifications. How did you ring a bell in Twitch? I forget. I know in YouTube you ring the bell. But you can get notifications
shit.
somehow.
Sorry, Prince K9 would reminded me of one more. I don't remember the name. The FF12 vocal track. What is it?
The FF12 vocal track. I was thinking 9 for a second.
I do not remember.
What?
But you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
It
only plays in the credits and the commercial. But
the credits.
I love Kiss Me Goodbye. Thank you, Keimhart. Kiss Me Goodbye. Google that, guys. It's a really good. All the vocal tracks from 11 and on have all been spectacular, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even 13s.
Here, let's test out "Kiss Me Goodbye" from it's a movie from Final Fantasy 12. Yeah, Final Fantasy 12. "Kiss Me Goodbye." I'll have to hear it to tell me. I apologize, all of you listening. This could be really loud. Let me know if you hear it. Let me know how loud that is. You should all be able to hear this. My co-host cannot hear this. Oh, yeah. This didn't ever play in the song, did it? In the credits, maybe?
It played in the credits only, yeah. In the credits only. And
yeah,
the commercials.
Copyrights.
Just like FF13's vocal track, right? FF13 had a vocal track just in the credits.
Yeah. That was under 30 seconds, so no copyright data should be under 30 seconds. Woohoo! Suck it, copyright. You can't take me out. No, I'm kidding. Squex, don't sue me. I just don't have anything to sue. Well, I do thank you all for joining us. We will be back next Thursday with your full show, but do stay tuned for potential potential videos or a stream for Monday just to kind of go over the coming notes. I have not been doing Should You Pull videos for this banner. And I just wanted to do that for kind of a month, and those fun kind of 5-minute Should You Pull videos. I think I might go and do a couple other things depending. I actually have been fairly busy, even though I've been working from home. So we'll see how times go. But we are approaching episode 100, and we are going to do some giveaways and maybe some other special things as we get closer to episode 100. So today's episode 95. Thank you for listening on this March 26, 2020. I am Mark, and I've been joined by Kreese and Mino. I thank them for all their devotion and time and hard work to make this happen. And all of you who support this podcast and who do this. This has been a great community effort for 95 episodes now, and continue to hope to do it. So good luck for all of you. Until next time, we will say goodbye.